Welcome to the cockpit. My name's Ryan and I'll be your pilot today. Boys and girls, we are in free agency tampering period. It has begun as of 3.5 hours ago, so I'm a little late to this. That is all right. We are here to talk a little bit about football and what's going on around the NFL landscape. We have moves being made, moves not being made, people being irritated by Joe Douglas, our players going elsewhere. What's going on? Bryce Huff signing with the Eagles. Let's pull up the little chart here. Bam! We'll talk a little bit about this. Obviously, yesterday we heard Chuck Clark, Isaiah Oliver, Kenny Yeboah all brought in. We signed Greg Zuerlein earlier today. 2 years, $8.4 million. Love that we brought him back. Dude gets a pay bump, double what he got last year. I believe it was $2 million this past year. Bryce Huff signed with the Eagles for 3 years, $51 million. I'm not real happy with it. I'm kind of frustrated, and I want to hear from you guys on this as well. Like, I look, $17 million a year. I feel like at the very least, if you didn't want to invest that kind of money into the defensive line, it would have been just fine to franchise tag and trade Bryce Huff. But I don't know why they weren't able to do that. Very frustrating. Very, very frustrating. 3 years, $51 million. I'm glad Huff got a good contract. Good for him. But man, it feels like the Jets really dropped the ball when it comes to that side of things. I got Justin Thomas coming in. Justin says, left Matt for you, Ryan. Thank you. I'll be with Matt soon. Not today. But I didn't realize Matt was live. Okay. So let's go through some of the moves that have been made. I made some graphics for stuff. Other stuff I'll just pull up in the comments as things pop up here. Obviously, we heard potential news of T. Higgins wanting a trade. Is he going to get moved? Do the Bengals even want to move him, and what would it cost? I don't think the Bengals end up moving T. Higgins because I don't think he's going to get enough value in return for them this year. I feel like I would rather let him walk for a third in a year's time instead of letting him go for like a second this year. I would say that would be a mismanagement on the way of the Bengals. Now, in terms of Bryce Huff, you guys saw this, 3 years, $51 million. Not a great, it's frustrating. It's frustrating to see this happen because you don't want to lose a homegrown player like this. Really irritating. Huff balled out. And Philly is look, they were in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. They know how to build a good team. It's frustrating. Frustrating that it feels like we're asleep at the wheel right now. It's Cola comes in. Says, Ryan, can you call JD and tell him he's overslept? It certainly feels like it. Daylight savings time is screwing up everyone over at One Jets Drive. I don't know what's going on, but very, very frustrating to see this. See, Ed the Red, are we crazy for letting Huff go? It's frustrating. It definitely is. And then we got to see Bakhtiari. Bakhtiari ends up getting cut and released. Is he going to wind up coming over as a New York Jet? What ends up happening? We'll see in the coming days. Does he get a good amount of money? Does he get guaranteed money? I hope not. I don't want to give him a crazy ton. I do like the idea of bringing him in, but I would like to exhaust some other options. We've seen some of the guards go. We've seen Hunt sign a 5-year, $100 million contract. Robert Hunt going to the Panthers. Insane. That is a crazy amount of dollars to pay him, if I do say so myself. Let's see. Justin Thomas coming in. Says, Glazer reporting that Onwenu has signed with a team and the Jets never reached out. I don't know what we do. Onwenu's one that you would have liked to see them go after. Guard tackle flexibility. If we really didn't have anything going with this, it's kind of frustrating. Not going to lie. Having this many guards and offensive linemen go so early in free agency and the Jets knowing this is such a critical part, I feel like we're headed right back to Connor McGovern at center, which is what I predicted for a while. I thought that was going to happen. There's still plenty of guys out there. Still plenty of guys. But the fact that the Jets didn't reach out to the one that seemed like you would have stolen someone from a division rival, maybe they just thought he would get overpaid. What do you think he gets? If Robert Hunt got 5 years, $100 million, what do you think Onwenu gets? What's his value compared to that of Hunt? Prestige drops in, says, letting Huff go is not nearly as big a problem as we think. Not saying he's not good. He's amazing, but we have good enough coaching to find a replacement. So I am not upset with not retaining Huff. I wanted to retain Huff, but I'm upset with not getting any value from Huff. Letting him walk for nothing, especially, I mean, who knows? Maybe if the Jets are not going to be active in free agency right now, it doesn't even matter. We're going to get a comp pick for him regardless. I was concerned that the Jets weren't going to get a comp pick because I thought we were going to be active. But the Jets are going to drag their feet. We'll end up getting comp picks for Huff. I don't know. That's frustrating. I'm frustrated. Everyone's frustrated. At the Red says we better wake up. I ain't hanging around watching JD make a meal this offseason yet. It's Cola says Devontae Parker released. Can't wait for the 3-year, $33 million coming his way. Yo, I can't believe what's his face? Kendrick Bourne, 3 years, $33 million. That was more than I thought he'd get. Although Lazard got the same thing last year, so maybe I'm not too shocked. It's Cole says, could we not have transition tagged Huff? We could have, and then we could have at least matched it. That's what's so frustrating about it. Like if the Eagles wanted him and we just wanted to let him go, you could have at least matched. Like that's a contract the Jets should have been able to match. We should have been able to figure out a way to keep your homegrown player for $17 million a year. I think, at least. Now, maybe they're going to use him in a higher percentage of snaps, and that's ultimately what he wanted. Maybe that's where it is. Muttvile says, clearly we are napping. We are trading for dogs tonight or tomorrow. Maybe that's it. Maybe we're waiting for that first wave of free agency to happen, teams to be a little, like, spooked, not being able to get the players they want to get, and then maybe they swoop in tomorrow and start doing some stuff. They got it, dude. I don't know what's going on with this whole not, I don't know. Really frustrating. Let's see. John Runyon got $10 million per year too, says WM. I didn't see what the contract was. I knew he got signed. That sucks. Yeah, dude, I feel like you're absolutely going to exercise AVT's 5th-year option at this point. It's $15 million or $16 million. Although, I guess it gets locked in now. So yeah, $15 million now for a top guard, potentially. Or potentially a top tackle. If tackles are going to get even more money, damn. Aiden says, Tyler Boyd needs to sign with us ASAP. I really like Tyler Boyd. I would be pumped on this signing if you could get him. I do think he's going to end up in Pittsburgh. I think he's going to end up with the Steelers. That would be my guess. WM says, how about Aaron Jones and David Bakhtiari on a team-friendly deal, given Green Bay still got to pay them both huge money in dead cap for this year? So they don't have any guaranteed money. I didn't look at Aaron Jones' contract. I'd have to look at Aaron Jones' contract, but they don't have any guaranteed money left. So you're talking about having, you'd still have to pay them whatever. It's not like an offset year kind of like Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson had guaranteed money each of these next 2 years, so the Denver Broncos are on the hook for that contract. That's why he signed a 1-year, $2 million contract or whatever it was with the Steelers. So on team-friendly deals, Aaron Jones and David Bakhtiari, I'm down. I'm down for that. What would that look like? And are you fully relying on Bakhtiari? I don't want to fully rely on Bakhtiari, but I do like the idea of bringing him in, having AVT play like the emergency tackle position, and then drafting a tackle at 10. I'm like kind of okay with that. But you still need depth, and we're not making like any moves. Very frustrating. Ryan Rivera says, Bakhtiari, Vishanto, Scantling Jr., whatever the fuck his name is, and Aaron Jones, it's going to be happening. Yeah, it's just what it feels like. It feels like we're just going to get a ton of Packers players. James, what is the outlook of this team if we don't want to come away with any offensive linemen? I think McGovern's coming back. I think that's first and foremost. To me, that tells me that we're going to have obviously someone at 10 if we're not going after an offensive lineman right now. Maybe they get a Bakhtiari, and maybe that's it. Maybe that's their offensive line. I don't know. I don't love that. I think we need more stuff. Christopher says, hopefully we hear us trading for Bowles and Sutton, 2 birds, 1 stone. That's what I want. That's what I want. I think it's probably far-fetched to have it happen, but that's what I want. Anthony, got to believe McDonald now. Hopefully he makes JJ leap. Yeah, if McDonald can make that same leap, that would be incredible. Billy SBC, will be easy to get defensive players to sign here. Way more difficult to get offensive players to do it. I don't know. Offensive players have Aaron Rodgers here. I don't know if it's necessarily like a detriment. I think we'll be fine. We're just not going to pay people. That's more the issue. WM says 3 years, $30 million for Runyon. That's not bad. $10 million for a free agent guard isn't terrible. It's better than $20 million a year. $20 million a year for Robert Hunt is crazy town. That's nuts. Garbage Time Fantasy Football. What the F is the plan? I'm spiraling. I need something to happen. Yeah, it feels like we're just spinning our wheels right now. Seems clear to me that the coaching staff is high on McDonald, though we don't have anyone to replace Lawson, too. Yeah, I agree. I think we're sneaky going to need an edge rusher. Justin Thomas. I'm calling it now. Aaron Brewer at center, Tippmann to guard. I've been saying Tippmann to guard for a while. I don't know who the center is going to be. I think it's going to be Connor McGovern over Brewer. But who knows? Maybe Keith Carter doesn't want what's his face back, McGovern. Boom, man, this is great. James, apparently, Mike, when you told a reporter Jets haven't contacted him about an official offer. Yeah, that's the friggin' disgrace. That's stupid. That's dumb. WM, you obviously don't fully rely on Bakhtiari given his recent history. Draft an elite tackle, play Bakhtiari on the left if he's healthy. Yep, that's what I would do. It's Cola says Akuda to the Texans on a 1-year deal. I think that's sneaky good. How has he played since his initial injury, his rookie season? I haven't really followed his career all that much. Jack Kim, do you think that Huff being released wouldn't have happened if Will McDonald had been showing up poorly? No, I think they were going to move on from him regardless. I think it was a money asset thing more than anything. Freedom Face, why are we not signing guards, dude? We're going to be screwed. Yeah, we need someone. We really need someone. Ed the Red says, what are you going to do with Zach Wilson, Ryan? We're going to be stuck with him. I don't think he's going to be back on the team. I think the Jets are going to cut him at the very least. I'm disappointed in that because I don't want to see them cut a number 2 overall pick and still wind up having to pay a backup. Like, I would rather him just be the backup, but that doesn't seem like it's actually like a feasible thing. And God forbid we had to sit and watch Zach Wilson again. I don't want to see that again. Anthony D says, brace yourself, Jet fans. Joe ain't doing shit. Not good. Real Ministries. Letting Huff go was just weird to me. Not even tagging him, really. Yeah, at least the transition tag would have been good. Billy SBC, Bakhtiari interest is kind of expected. Is anyone like reporting on that yet? I feel like it's going to happen if it's not being said yet. You got to feel that's where they're headed. Let's see. Go over here to the screen. So Tony says, Jets haven't done any restructures yet. So I don't know why. You probably wouldn't want to restructure just yet because a lot of the money that the Jets have that they could free up in restructuring of contracts is known as simple restructures. And for that, you don't need the player's consent to do anything. It's just shifting money within the framework of the already existing contract. So it's just allocating money differently. So if you restructure these contracts, you would hurt your cap space in future years without needing it right now. Like once you need it to make a move, then I think you restructure. I think that's probably what we'll see. It'll almost be like a little chess match, sort of. But yeah, I understand the sort of frustration. Where are the Jets sitting at cap right now? If we signed $4 million a year for Zerline plus these other moves, you got to figure the Jets are sitting somewhere around $12 million-ish, $10 million-ish with Yeboah, Oliver, Chuck Clark. Clark's like $4 million probably. Now, the Red, are the Jets coming to Europe this season? I do think they will. We haven't heard anything about it officially yet, but the Jets are playing the Vikings and the Jaguars, both of which have an away game in London. And with Woody having the London connection, I feel like it's just makes sense for the Jets to get a standalone Rodgers game without needing to be in primetime. God forbid he's like injured or something like that. I think that's what's going to end up happening. It's Cola. Ryan, did you check out Breece Hall just tweeted? What did he just tweet? I'm very excited to see this. I love me some Breece Hall. Looking at these O-line signings like, ooh, man, yeah, dude, they know. Jet fans know. Jet players know we want offensive linemen. Yo, Breece Hall, come on. Listen to your running back. He knows what's needed. DJ, what would the comp on Higgins trade look like? You're talking at least a second that the Jets don't have. I don't think a Higgins trade makes sense for the Jets. Real Ministries, JD never made big splashes in free agency. Everyone should know this by now. He's a draft and trade guy. I expect we'll have a big trade at some point. Hopefully it's that Sutton Bowles trade that I've been talking about. That would be really nice. Or one of the two. Because if your offensive players like Breece Hall are saying, yo, what the F? You're getting players, signed everywhere else except the New York Jets, especially on the offensive line. This isn't good. Tin Star says the same exact coaches who developed a free agent can't develop McDonald. I'm sure they can develop McDonald. It's just a misallocation of resources. McDonald pick should have been an offensive lineman or should have been a wide receiver. At the very least, you should have traded Huff at the deadline. So there were a few opportunities to fix fix the route that you were kind of going, and to let just Huff walk for nothing is really, really frustrating here. Hey, Stu, Bakhtiari just had another major knee injury. You guys serious? Yeah, but this was the one that was supposed to fix it all. I don't think you rely on it solely, and you probably don't sign him until he can clear a physical. So if he's not passing a physical, you go a different route at offensive line until he can pass a physical. That would be my guess. John Sauer, I'd rather overpay for offensive tackle than play waiting game. Yeah, I don't want to play the waiting game. I want to know we got our guy. I just don't know who that guy is. Who I think the Jets are planning to use AVT at tackle. Gut feeling, that's where they're headed. Anthony, this Huff situation did not have to happen. This is the incompetence that Douglas has shown over his 5.5 years. I mean, it's just disgusting. It's super frustrating. Super frustrating. I don't like how the Huff situation has been handled. WM, I can't believe JD let Huff walk for nothing. At least it's likely a third-round compensatory pick, though. Yeah, especially if the Jets don't do anything. If the Jets drag their feet, they're more than likely going to get a third-round comp pick. But I'd like them to sign some free agents right now so we can go on the Super Bowl push. You can't tell me you couldn't have tagged and traded him. That's what's frustrating about this whole thing. Kenneth says, JD does not sign any offensive line players. Keep Zach, who will be a starter again once Aaron gets killed behind the screen door. Jets call their offensive line. Could you imagine if Zach Wilson has to start again? I'm not down with that. You can't. Don't do that to me. Please don't do that to me. I do not want to see Zach start again. Hey, Stu, signing Bakhtiari or Tyron Smith's typical JD move. All he has done in 6 years is sign semi-retired, often injured, coming off surgery vet offensive lineman. I mean, it worked with Fant and it worked with Moses. Ryan Khalil, his first year was after the draft, after free agency, so it was kind of a bargain bin, or not even bargain bin. It was just kind of like, hey, we got to get someone in here to play center because it's a problem. But yeah, you would like to see the offensive line solved by now, and it has not. Jack Kim, is Devontae off the table now? I would think so. I don't think he's getting traded. I would be surprised there. Justin Thomas, it's only a 4th round comp based off his contract. I don't know how the actual round breakdown works. I know it's based on the size of the contract, but it's in relation to what we bring in, isn't it? Or is that just not high enough that it doesn't even qualify for a 3rd round comp pick regardless? I'd love to know more about that. That's something I don't know a crazy ton about. Billy, come on, let's sign at least Illuminor. He's here. Let's get him. Or he's out there to be had. He's a high upside dude. He's going to be a cheaper get too, I think. Cheaper in comparison. Not going to be $20 million, obviously. P. Doogs, Greg the Leg being our headliner of the day is so Jets. Yeah, I didn't want the kicker to be the the one thing we were talking about today. Do you think we get Calvin Ridley? No, I don't think we get Calvin Ridley. I don't think it's happening. I'm shocked that one of the first reported transactions wasn't the Jets signing a lineman. Yeah, it feels like JD's asleep at the wheel. What are you doing, dude? I don't love it. Chad Marlowe, is it possible JD forgot to set his clock forward 1 hour behind the rest of the league? That's what it feels like. Feels like he did not, he wasn't prepared for daylight savings time. Jay, no one wants to come to us. That's going to be the problem this free agency. Well, I think our coaching staff is on shaky ground. I think our quarterback is coming off a major surgery at 40 years old. And I think, you just saw Miami play well and, Buffalo play well. They're both drastically different teams at this point, and they'll be different once Tua gets a ton of money too. But like, there's a lot to not like about the Jets. High state income tax is another thing. We're not a very attractive spot. Randy asks, we lost Bryce Huff, or is this just projection? Nope, we lost Bryce Huff. Or he will be signing on Wednesday when he can. Mitch, are you willing to give 10 for Bowles and Sutton? And is there cap space for both? The Jets can definitely make cap space for both. I don't think you'd have to give up 10 to get both, though. Jerry Jeudy went for a 4th and a 5th round pick. What do you think Sutton goes for separately? And what do you think Bowles goes for separately? Because I think needing to know those two things, like I feel like you could trade down from 10 to 12, and that would be enough to get Sutton. And then was it a 3rd round pick for Bowles maybe? I don't think you have to give up 10 straight up. Team Money's getting frustrated. He says, stop using AVT at tackle. Use him at guard. Yeah, I don't want to see him at tackle. I feel like if he's at guard, then at least you have the emergency break glass in case of emergency situation of bringing AVT in at tackle if one of your tackles gets hurt. If he's already playing tackle and he gets hurt, then you're down even another player. I don't like that. Not a fan. Not a fan. Not a fan. Anthony. Want the Jets to pick up one of the free agent offensive linemen, but geez, these contracts for mid-round guys don't know how to feel. Yeah, I don't want to overpay for a mid-round talent, but I'd like to go out and get someone. It's that conundrum, right? Like I'm not paying Robert Hunt $20 million a year for 5 years. That's crazy town. Anthony D. This is why owners don't give general managers 5 and 6 years to fix or build a team, because look at this type of incompetence. What can Joe really say as to why his this tenure has played this way? I think two of the biggest misses, obviously Zach Wilson and Becton. Becton getting hurt 2 years. I mean, Douglas has identified solid offensive tackles in Morgan Moses and George Fenton. We had both of them, but unfortunately, we trusted Becton to stay healthy or get healthy, or we needed to rely on him to get healthy because of that high investment we had in him. So I can trust Douglas to identify talent. Even Becton was talented his rookie year. The injuries derailed everything. Now, the personality traits I didn't love so much about Becton that I wish we had caught earlier. But I feel like that miss and the Zach miss were just so huge to try and overcome. When you miss those two positions, you're reeling for sure. Cuddy coming in with super chat. Thank you, brother. Says, I think the biggest help to our offensive line today is Miami defensive tackle leaving the division. JD had this fan base fully behind him in the early years, but shaky now. Yeah, look, the last year I have not been very high on Joe Douglas's moves. I thought the move to get Rodgers was good. I did not think it was the right move to trade for him before the draft. I thought trading for him in the summer would have been the right thing to do. When I was looking at, I don't know. The last year bugged me. The draft pick, I would say since the drafting of Will McDonald. Like even Lazard, like I understand people not liking the Lazard contract, even at the time, but if that's the price of attracting Rodgers, I'm fine with that. That's okay. It's a sunk cost. Doesn't matter to me. But aside from that, like, look, I don't know. I liked what Laken Tomlinson was supposed to be, and he wound up being dog poo. Frustrating. Prestige Shogun says, Ryan, would you at least try to trade for T. Higgins? I would at least call, see what it would cost. I don't think the Jets are going to be able to be in contention with that. I think T. Higgins is going to go for far more than the Jets are going to be able to offer, and he's going to get paid way more than the Jets should probably pay him in particular. Like, with Evans, you might have been able to get him on a 2 or 3 year high-end contract. With T. Higgins, you're probably getting him on a 4 or 5 year contract. Andrew says, I guess Bryce really left in a huff. Sorry, I'll see myself out now. Dad joke, love it. Oh, God. Anthony, you're right. So make sense of this. If nobody else outside of the organization were willing to take your money, why didn't Douglas sign his own half? Like, make sense of this. I'm not sure I understand what you're talking about. It's all right. Sad Giants fan says, do you see the Giants getting to 2 wins this season, or they are going winless like Detroit and Cleveland? I don't think the Giants are going to go winless. I think what's going to happen is I would take your 2 second-round picks or some combination of a second-round pick and another pick or future picks or whatever, get up into the back end of the first and try to get like a Michael Penix. I would try to have a quarterback at the back end of the first to compete with Jones this year, and then cut Jones after next year and just sort of roll with the young kid. Ooh, McKinney to Green Bay. Wow, that's a good move for them. That's a solid move. What's his contract? Let me know his contract if you guys know his contract, because that's probably a monster deal. Tom says, Bryce, Garrett, and Sauce should have all left the Jets if they want to have a shot at remote success in their career. That's why it's so important to win this year, because all these contracts are going to start being renegotiated next season. And I feel like Garrett Wilson, and I've said this before, so the 5th-year option on first-round draft picks is predicated on Pro Bowls. There's 4 different 5th-year options. There's the baseline one, there's the playing time one, which is 50% of snaps, there is the 1 Pro Bowl one, and then there is a multiple Pro Bowl one. And if you think Garrett Wilson over the course of his first 3 years probably should have made 2 Pro Bowls, given he's gone over 1,000 yards 2 years with 2 of the worst quarterback playing seasons ever, I would say he's arguably one of the best AFC receivers and should have made at least 1 Pro Bowl. The difference from the playing time 5th-year option and the 2-time Pro Bowl 5th-year option is $6 million. $6 million. That's a lot of cheddar. So I don't love that. That sucks. That sucks for him. Like, he's actually losing money for that. Anthony D says, Ryan, good teams move on from mistakes, not dribble and pity about. The money they gave someone and it didn't work out, you just get up and dust it off and move on. Yeah, no, I agree. I just think they got to, they should have paid off. I don't know. That's my thinking on it. Garbage Time says, we're going to end up signing a player who has played 14 games in the last 3 years and have no depth behind him. I'm boiling. Look, I've said I thought Bakhtiari was going to be our tackle for a while. It's not the one I want, but I do think it makes the most sense because of Aaron Rodgers' blindside. There was all the rumors that the Jets tried to go for him last season. It just makes all the sense in the world that he ends up here. I don't know how the turf thing plays into it. What is he going to get on a contract? I don't want to rely on him. I don't want to rely on him fully. But if the break glass in case of emergency option is AVT at left tackle, you start to kind of make peace with it to some degree. 4 years, $68 million for McKinney? Is that what it was? That's what you guys are talking about? That's actually cheaper than I would have thought. It's $16 million a year. Is that right? A little over $16 million. What are safeties getting paid now? I thought they were up around like 20. Becton going to end up being a really good left tackle somewhere. Just watch. Yeah, I'm more than willing to let him go elsewhere. He's been injured far too much, creates far too many penalties. It's not worth it. I'd rather go a different direction at this point. T to the money. We haven't had an edge. We got one. We let him go. Make it make sense. If it doesn't, fire everyone. Look, I'm very upset that we lost Huff for nothing. You should have at least gotten something for Huff. Steve Larson says Washington Huskies left tackle moving up fast on draft board, 6'4", 317, could play guard too. So he's talking about Troy Fautanu, the left tackle for the Huskies. His arms actually measured in longer than 34 inches, which is that's like the standard for tackles in the NFL. And Talise Funga, the right tackle from Oregon State, had under 34-inch arms. So if you want to read into that, you can read into that what you will. So if you were high on Funga, you should be high on Fautanu as well. Timo says, I think it's possible to get Higgins for a 4th, 6th, and a future 3rd. If that's the case, the Jets should do that. I think it's going to cost way more than that. I don't think that would be surprising for me. Different new planes. Letting homegrown talent is a calling card for this team at this point. Oh, letting homegrown talent go. How many ex-JD players were wins, but now playing significant roles elsewhere? Fant, Huff, Pinnock, Flacco, too many to count. You can add Cashman to that list. Cashman hasn't really been healthy. He just signed a deal with the Bears? Is that right? Or Vikings? I think it was the Vikings that I saw. 3 years, 65. Oh, 3 years, 65. Okay, so that's 20-something million a year. That's different than 4 years. Billy says, I think they draft tackle at 10 and use Bakhtiari as number 2 left tackle. And you think AVT's right tackle then? That would be interesting. If Bakhtiari is like a placeholder for someone else to come in, that's fine. Or if they feel strong enough about the backup. Like, I like going with a veteran. If you want to go with a Bakhtiari or a Tyron Smith because you like what Warren is, but if Warren's not ready by the time, like up to snuff by the time a Bakhtiari gets hurt, then maybe you kick AVT out there. If that's your plan and you're taking a tackle at 10, I'm cool with that on the right-hand side. On the left-hand side with the rookie on the right-hand side. Oh no, Rico the Pup says 4 years, $68 million with $25 million in the first year. That is nuts. Is it 3 years or is it 4 years? I didn't see what it was. That drastically changes what the thought process is, though. Let's see. Hey, Stu Sr. Dude, you'd create penalties too if you had to play in a boot. Did you not see that he had on his foot the last 7 games? He shouldn't have been out there then. I'm sorry. He caused more damage than he was worth. I don't think he's... I didn't know he was in a boot, though. Jay, did you get something for Huff? You keep your cap space to pay for a wide receiver or offensive tackle. That's just it. Like, the fact that you didn't franchise tag Huff and you were concerned about your cap space, like, you could have at least traded him. It's bullshit. It's bullshit is bullshit is bullshit. Fast Car Carapoto. Ryan, do you think Joe Douglas pick the best player in the draft at 10 instead of lineman, which is a need? I could see us going weapon, but we're not signing offensive lineman right now, which is what would have led me to believe we'd go weapon in the draft. So if we go weapon in the draft and we haven't solved offensive tackle in free agency, now I'm like super leery about what's going to go on. Stu Sr., the problem with the Jets is every other NFL team knows exactly what we need, how desperate we are, and all of them will try to drain us in trades for draft picks. Maybe we're not going to do it either, and we're going to go after a Bakhtiari and an Aaron Jones, and we're just going to do the Green Bay Jets or the New York Packers or whatever you want to call it. Maybe that's where we're headed. Due to money, nothing Salas said or JD gonna do. Put you in a top 3 defense last year. I don't know. All right, let's do this. Let's go to the phone lines. I would like to hear from you guys. Let's see. I need to add that to the chat. Boom. All right, so call-in number is going to be pinned in the live chat. If you guys want to call in, get your thoughts on stuff. And then let's change this to the 2-person screen. Bam. Let's see. What am I doing here? What am I doing? Oh, it's because screen share's on. Stupid. Sorry. Pause. There we go. We got Matthew joining the show. Matthew, how you doing, brother? Guest has muted themselves. Matthew, can you hear me? Boom, Matthew, fix your microphone. We've got Mutt Viles joining the show. Mutt Viles, how you doing, brother?
I'm about to sleep in my truck right now, bro. I'm at work. I'm sitting like waiting for something to happen. I'm sitting here listening to Pat McAfee show all day. All I'm hearing is Rob Hunt got signed, Josh Jacobs went to the Packers, freaking all this other stuff, and Joe Douglas is sleeping on the couch. What are we doing? Like, please, make it make sense to me.
Oops, sorry, I'm hitting buttons here and I'm clicking things. I'm messing with stuff. Dude, so what do you think the Jets are going to do? What's the solution?
Well, I was texting one of my friends earlier, though, and he's telling me, so when are you guys signing Bakhtiari and Aaron Jones? I'm like,
that's what it feels like is going to happen.
It's going to happen. I'm hoping, personally, I don't want Aaron Jones because you can get a back later on in the draft if you want to, and we drafted 𝐂𝐿𝐴𝐵𝐿𝐴 for a reason. If anything, I'll wait for the second wave.
I don't think Izzy showed enough to be running back 2 for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but if anything, though, you still can try and rotate him in, though, if you want to. Or if anything, though, you just sign what's called running back in the second wave, or you draft somebody later on.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think that's probably what they'll end up doing. JD has taken a running back in every single one of his drafts, so I feel like that makes the most sense for him to do. I just don't know if I don't know. It's frustrating because I want to see some moves made, and I want to feel like we have an urgency to win, and it doesn't feel like we're doing that. It's really freaking frustrating.
This is the only thing right now that's bothering me because I know you got other people. How is it now that you have Aaron Rodgers, he's be fully healthy, ready, and you're not making moves to go win a Super Bowl? What are we doing,
dude? So frustrating.
This one I might sound crazy for. If we don't do anything and Aaron Rodgers either gets hurt again or we have a bad season, when Salah and Douglas are gone, I don't know when the heck Archie Manning comes out, but I have a feeling, though, they're just going to rip the whole band off, make an entire team for him, and there you go. That's what I have a feeling is going to happen, though, if we don't do anything with Rodgers right now.
Oh, my
God. I have to wait what is it? Like 2028, 2027? I'm like,
I think it's 2027 is when he comes out. He was in college this past year, and he's got 2 more years he's got to be out of high school. So 2024, 2025, he'd be in the 2026 draft, I think, if he came out after 3 years, if that was like his decision.
Dude, I got to wait till I'm 30 years old to freaking watch this thing go back to the playoffs. Come on. I don't want to see it.
Mud Vials, you have been ejected from the cockpit. Let's go over to RJ. RJ, how you doing, brother? RJ, where'd you go? I had you. No, I don't got you. All right. We're going to go to Mike. Mike, how you doing, brother?
Hey, man, I'm driving right now, so if it gets a little spotty, I apologize.
Keep your eyes on the wheel. It's okay. We'll just talk.
I entirely blame Lincoln Tomlinson for us being so quiet this free agency because they are scared to get burned by a terrible deal. I'm telling you right now, they don't want to pay $100 million 5 years for a guard who's going to end up potentially sucking. They'd rather bargain hunt and get a guy who plays at a bargain price than overpay and get a dog shit player and be stuck on a terrible contract after the last 3 big signings besides DJ Reed have not worked out. They got burned by Carl Lawson. They got burned by Lincoln Tomlinson. They got burned by Lazard. Like, too many bad ones. So they're scared because they want to win, but they're I think they're going to look more at the draft and the trade market. But I don't know what they're trading because they don't really have a lot to trade.
Yeah, I don't see where the play is. Like, what's the move in free agency or not free agency?
I just think it's like they're trying to play for the future, but they're trying to win now. So they're in a weird spot, and they're not really doing either. So they're kind of just fucking themselves. To be honest, sorry for cursing, but like that's kind of what it's like. It's like I don't know why we're not being active, but at the same time, I can kind of understand where they're coming from, but it doesn't make sense because Joe Jugglers will be fired next year if they don't do anything this year. So
100%.
Do you care about your job, or are you just sitting there, just being like, okay, we'll just get a couple of garbage players and see what happens?
That's definitely what it feels like.
So I'm
not gonna lie.
So like maybe they're going after Tyron Smith from Dallas, but that seems like a bad play with the injuries. And maybe they go Bakhtiari, but again, like let's get more injured linemen who are in their 30s. That's a great idea, guys. That's what we want. So it sucks.
I think Iron Show though. I think that's ultimately what it's going to be.
So I think they're running on Bakhtiari is what I really think.
Yeah, I agree.
I think
Aaron said that's who I want. That's my guy.
And they're just working out the financials there, and they rather not overpay for a guard who's going to be like, they're like, I don't want to pay $100 million for a guy who might give up 30 sacks a year, like Lincoln Tomlinson, who's supposed to be good, but he costs us a ton of money, and he was terrible.
I completely agree. I think there's definitely a trigger shyness, and to some degree, if they feel like, look, Aaron Rodgers plays the entire season, we're all coming back anyway. Like, let's not blow the everything right now. Like maybe that is their thought process. And honestly,
they just gotta keep him up.
Yeah, if they keep him healthy.
They just gotta keep him healthy though. I just hate having a 41-year-old quarterback as our goddamn safety valve. Like it seems like it's such a terrible way to build a team. I know it's Aaron Rodgers, but God, Jesus Christ.
I feel you, brother. I'm gonna get some more calls.
41 years old.
You've been ejected from the cockpit. I've got Hep joining the line, and then I got RJ. Hep, how you doing, brother?
How you doing, Ryan? I've been thinking, if we can't sign a big receiver, why don't we play Moneyball, go to the algorithm, and get $3 $5 million players and make up the difference in yards and touchdowns?
So It doesn't always
For
work
example,
that way.
for example,
Give me an example. I think that's
like DJ Chark. I'm figuring he's gonna get for 500 yards, get him for $5 million. Then you have who's the guy that left us? Corey Davis. We
yep.
re-signed him for $5 million, maybe another
Could you
500
imagine?
yards. And then some maybe that you were talking about last week about a slot receiver that you really
Yeah,
like.
Curtis Samuel.
Yeah, we get those three guys to make up the difference between, let's say, Devontae or something like that. And I don't know, maybe that's what they're trying to do.
Maybe they're playing a little bit of Moneyball. I think the last caller was spot on with they're a little gun shy after the Lake and Tomlinson deal. So now you can maybe, spread it around. Like if they feel like the talent level between where the guys are at right now in free agency, like do you really want to pay X player, this much more money than the bottom tier guy when you're not going to get that much more production out of, comparatively. Like maybe you'll get more production by spending the money elsewhere that'll help your team overall more than so I get what you're saying there.
And the elite player is one Achilles from going down from the season, right?
That's true. I mean, proof positive for us with AVT and with Rodgers. You rely on two guys for those two specific. I mean, obviously Rodgers the entire team, but AVT on the offensive unit, like expecting him to be there all year, and then gone. Like that's the whole worry about paying someone so much money is because you're one injury away from just going sideways.
Corey Davis didn't look really good, but remember who was throwing him the ball. We had a really hard time with that. So,
I wish we would get Corey Davis back. I really do. He was someone that I was looking forward to being wide receiver 2 last year, and for it to kind of like go the way it did. I was at training camp and I looked down at my phone. I was like, "Whoa, Corey Davis just retired," or like stepped away from the game. Like, what the heck? This is ridiculous.
Oh well, let's hope. Let's pray. Let's play this. Pray this is the season. Because we deserve this, man. We've been through the ringer. This is getting crazy.
Fingers crossed, dude. Dude, I hear you.
Hey, Mo. See you later.
Take it easy, brother. You have been ejected from the cockpit. All right. Boys and girls, hit that like button if you're hanging out here. Very much enjoying the stream. I'm going to have to get my daughter soon, so I'm going to hop off. I'll probably go on a little bit later. I'll have the 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock show with Dom C. And then 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock, I'll be going live again tonight talking about free agency, getting your thoughts. We'll do some calls, questions, things of that nature. Very much looking forward to it. I'll go till 4:30. Let's rip through like 9 minutes or so of stuff. McNally saying Bryce basically telling Joe Douglas to do something. Dude, Bryce's tweets. Did he have a new one? I didn't see if he had a new one. I need to just constantly be refreshing Twitter right now. Indianapolis keeping a defensive tackle. Yo, come on, Bryce. What do you say? If you want to be the best, it's going to hurt. Oh, that was his pinned tweet. He likes the O-line, or he doesn't like the O-line signings. Yeah, we were looking at that before. Damn! Come on, Bryce. What are you doing? Jay says, we need a wide receiver that gets 700 to 900 yards, not a Lazard. Yeah, Lazard got, 300 yards last year? Now, you think Lazard with Rodgers is going to be better, so maybe that's different. But, yeah, it sucks. I don't know what to say. Zach, I threw it up on the screen before, but thank you so much for joining the economy class. Very much appreciated. Jay says, I didn't want Devontae. It's overkill and stunts Wilson for time. I just didn't think it was realistic. Outside the echo chamber, can't act like a bunch of assholes all the time. I expect players to want to be here. Yeah, no, we got to be able to do the right thing. It feels like we're always doing wrong by the players, and it bites us in the ass. So I don't want to see it. Chicago, Green Bay, Eagles, Falcons, all making moves. We've made moves in free agency before. It doesn't mean you necessarily win them, but I would have liked to have seen some offensive line help. A little bit of urgency would have been nice to see. Hugo Lake, it's frustrating that it seems that JD keeps undervaluing the market. He certainly does. Bino, with $100 million guaranteed from the Falcons, his career earnings will be just under $330 million, fourth all-time among players, just $3 million behind Tom Brady. Kirk Cousins is the reason Jets Talk 24/7 became a thing. That was my first video. Was Kirk Cousins to the Jets. Astu says JD has to use any draft picks from this year and next year to get to draft 2 offensive linemen. I think a good vet guard would be the best. So if you get 1 offensive lineman in free agency and it's a guard or interior offensive lineman, and then you draft 2 players in the draft, if that's your plan for your starting offensive line, that is a recipe for disaster. Makes me nervous. We'll see where that all goes. Can't wait for the big signings. JD ain't doing shit. Anthony D. Like, do you know how many people in football business, when the Jets announced they were getting Joe Douglas, that I was so surprised and amazed that the Jets could land Joe Douglas? And to think we haven't done anything in that time, other than like we had one amazing draft and that was about it. It's frustrating. Really, really frustrating. All right, boys and girls, I'm going to hop off here, and then I will be back later on tonight. Wanted to give you guys a little bit of analysis, midday thoughts and processes and things like that. But I will talk to you boys and girls later. This is Just Talk signing off. JETS.